The opening that captivates. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract the life they want, while others, despite hard work and positive thinking, stay stuck in patterns of fear, failure, or emotional chaos? It's not just mindset, it's not luck, it's not hustle, it's resonance. Imagine this: every thought you have, every emotion you feel, every belief buried deep in your subconscious is broadcasting a signal into the universe, and the universe is responding, not with judgment, not with preference, but with precision. You're not just creating your reality, you're selecting it from infinite possibilities. And the key that unlocks the right one: intention, but not the kind you've heard about. This isn't about visualizing a mansion and hoping it shows up. This is about aligning your inner archetypes, those timeless symbolic forces within you that shape your desires, fears, and decisions, with the quantum field that responds not to your words, but to your frequency. So, in the next few moments, we're going to go beyond wishful thinking and step into something far more real: how Jungian archetypes, quantum physics, and emotional energy converge to shape your destiny. Are you ready? Part 1. The reality behind intention. What if I told you that your mind isn't just a passive observer of reality? What if the very act of thinking, focusing, imagining was already influencing the world around you? It may sound like science fiction at first, a poetic metaphor at best, but this idea stands at the very core of quantum physics and depth psychology. Two disciplines, often seen as worlds apart, quietly agree on something extraordinary. You are not separate from the reality you observe. In quantum physics, there's a concept known as the observer effect. At the subatomic level, particles behave differently depending on whether they are being watched. In other words, the presence of your awareness changes what is being observed. Now pause and let that sink in. Your awareness doesn't just notice, it participates, it interacts, it shapes. This is where your thoughts come in, especially the ones you repeat. Every recurring thought, every mental image you carry, broadcasts a frequency. It emits an energetic signal, and that signal enters what quantum physicists call the field of possibilities. But this field, this ocean of potential, doesn't operate like a vending machine. It doesn't respond to your desires the way we respond to a wish list. Instead, it responds to your alignment, to your frequency, to who you are at your most fundamental level. That means the reality you experience isn't based solely on what you want. It reflects what you believe, what you expect, and what you subconsciously carry. This is where things get even more interesting, because intention is not just a surface-level wish. It's not simply saying, "I want to be successful," or "I hope things work out." Real intention goes deeper, much deeper. True intention is the harmony between your conscious thoughts, your emotional state, and the vast, often unseen terrain of your unconscious beliefs. Some of those beliefs you inherited from your parents, your culture, your past. Others you never even questioned, and yet they quietly guide your choices, your relationships, your dreams, and your doubts. This is why the work of Carl Jung is so powerful. Jung understood that our minds are not chaotic or random. They are deeply structured, and at the root of this structure are ancient patterns. I call them archetypes, universal forces or characters that live within each of us. The hero, the lover, the sage, the shadow. These are not just symbols in myths or stories. They are living energies within your psyche. They shape how you interpret life, how you show up in the world, how you face challenges or retreat from them. Think about it. When your inner hero is asleep, do you still pursue your goals with fire? When your inner shadow dominates, do you sabotage your own progress without fully understanding why? These archetypes are not enemies. They are aspects of you waiting to be understood, integrated, and honored. When they are at war with each other, your life feels fragmented. You might want success, but doubt your worth. You might dream of love, but fear abandonment. You might speak of courage, but secretly nurture the belief that you'll fail. This misalignment creates friction, confusion, stagnation. It's like trying to steer a ship with the sails pointing in opposite directions. But when your intention is in sync with your inner archetypes, something changes. When the hero inside you stands behind your dreams, when the magician, your creative visionary self, adds his fire, when the shadow is no longer hidden, but understood and transformed, you stop chasing your future, you begin to embody it. In that alignment, you no longer plead with the universe. You become the kind of person that your desired reality naturally gravitates toward. You radiate coherence, and coherence is magnetic. You see, life doesn't just respond to the words you say, it reflects the truth you carry. So ask yourself, not just what you want, but who are you being? Are your thoughts aligned with your vision? Are your emotions in harmony with your desires? Are your inner archetypes supporting or sabotaging your path? When all these parts of you begin to resonate together, your intention becomes more than a wish. It becomes a force, a signal, a clear declaration of who you are and what you're here to create. That is the reality behind intention. Part 2. Resonance is reality. So, what does it really mean to shape reality through intention? It begins with a shift in perception. A deep realization you are not creating your future from nothing. You are selecting it from what? From a field of infinite timelines, from a quantum library of possibilities, from realities that already exist waiting to be chosen, experienced, and embodied. Imagine the quantum field as a vast, endless library. Each timeline, each possible version of your life exists there as a book on a shelf. There's a version of you who healed, a version of you who thrived, a version of you who dared to live fully, and each one of those versions is already written, already complete. The question is, which book will you pull from the shelf? Which version of you will you allow yourself to step into? The answer doesn't lie in effort or wishing. It lies in resonance, in your emotional state, in your subconscious beliefs, in the frequency you embody moment by moment. This is why so many people feel stuck in the world of manifestation. They affirm their desires. They visualize their dreams, they recite mantras with hope and discipline, and yet reality doesn't seem to change. Why? Because underneath the surface level intention, the shadow whispers. That quiet, hidden part of the psyche, the part that holds unprocessed pain, old stories, and limiting beliefs, it's still speaking. Still broadcasting. You're not good enough, you'll never keep it, you're not safe, you don't deserve more. Even when you consciously say, I am abundant, the frequency beneath might still echo, I am afraid, and the quantum field, neutral, precise, and unwavering, does not respond to your words. It responds to your state, to your coherence, to the alignment or misalignment between your conscious desire and your unconscious vibration. This is where incoherence begins. The conscious mind says yes, the unconscious body says no, the heart pulls forward, the shadow pulls back, and the signal you send out. It's mixed, it's foggy, it's full of static, and so the reflection you receive is the same. Confusion, delay, repetition, the same patterns, the same lessons, over and over again, not because you are broken, but because your signal is not yet clear. So, what's the way forward? It begins with awareness, the kind that goes inward, the kind that listens without judgment. Track your emotional triggers, notice the moments that contract you, observe the beliefs that surface when you dream big. What are the voices you hear in the silence after a bold affirmation? Then go deeper. Identify your dominant archetypes. See, inner victim running the show. Is the shadow sabotaging your momentum? Is the inner child afraid to be seen? These patterns aren't here to shame you. They are maps. Each archetype reveals where healing is needed, where integration can happen. Ask yourself gently, is my intention aligned with the version of me who already lives that future? If not, what needs to shift? Because here's the quiet truth. Your reality doesn't shift when your thoughts change. It shifts when your frequency changes, when your body, mind, and soul are in harmony. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your inner archetypes are no longer at war but working as one. That is coherence, that is resonance, and resonance is reality. When you reach that state, you stop trying to make things happen. You stop chasing, you stop forcing. You become the version of yourself who naturally attracts what you once had to struggle for. You enter the timeline that already matches your vibration. You don't create the new life. You tune into it. Just like a radio doesn't build the music, it simply tunes to the frequency. You are not here to struggle your way into alignment. You are here to remember who you are beneath the noise. And when you do, the timeline shifts, the reality matches. And the book from the shelf, the one that holds your most expensive story, falls open effortlessly, not because you forced it, but because you finally resonated with it. That is the power of alignment. That is the true nature of intention. And that, dear soul, is where your future begins. Part 3. Archetypes as your inner GPS. Let's get specific now. Let's go deeper. Because this journey of intention, resonance, and alignment is not just about theory, it's about the architecture of your inner world. And at the heart of that architecture are the archetypes. These are not abstract ideas or distant mythological figures. They are living forces within your psyche. They are the hidden patterns behind your daily choices. They whisper your desires. They amplify your fears. They shape your relationships, your reactions, your dreams, and your doubts. Think of them as your inner GPS. Not one voice, but many, not one path, but a multidimensional system of guidance, resistance, and evolution. Let's explore some of them. The hero within you is the part that craves growth. It thrives on challenge. It wants to overcome. It's the energy that says, let me prove what possible. It pushes you to rise after a fall, to speak when your voice shakes, to keep going when the road gets hard. But every archetype has a shadow. The hero, when unbalanced, becomes obsessed with achievement. It chases validation instead of meaning. It burns out trying to prove its worth. It forgets to rest. It forgets to feel. It forgets that success without inner peace is just another form of emptiness. Then there's the lover. This archetype seeks union, beauty, emotional depth. It's the energy of connection, intimacy, vulnerability. It wants to feel alive through love, through art, through presence. But in shadow, the lover becomes clingy. It fears abandonment. It sacrifices itself just to be accepted. It merges with others and loses its own voice. It confuses attention for affection. It forgets its own holiness. And then we have the sage, the wise one. The part of you that sees clearly, thinks deeply, understands complexity. It offers insight, discernment, inner vision. It's the voice of stillness, in chaos. But in shadow, the sage retreats too far. It becomes detached, distant. It hides in analysis. It overthinks instead of acting. It watches life from the sidelines, safe but stuck. And here's the most important part. You don't eliminate these archetypes. You don't silence the hero. You don't push away the lover. You don't bury the sage. You integrate them. You become the conscious conductor of their energies. You give each one a seat at the table, but you lead the conversation. This is the difference between being driven by your unconscious and directing your unconscious, between being a passenger and being the navigator of your own life. And when this happens, when these inner forces no longer pull you in opposite directions, something profound begins to unfold. You stop reacting out of old patterns. You start choosing from presence and clarity. You stop sabotaging your progress through fear or guilt. You start embodying the version of you that already exists in your highest timeline, the version of you who is no longer asking, "How do I manifest this?" but instead is simply living in resonance with it. Because once the hero in you supports your growth rather than chasing approval, once the lover in you loves without losing itself, once the sage in you acts with clarity, not just insight, then your frequency becomes whole, your energy becomes clean, your signal becomes strong. And from that state of inner alignment, the outer world cannot help but reflect your coherence. You walk into rooms differently, you speak differently, you create differently, not from lack, not from longing, but from wholeness and manifestation. It's no longer a technique, it's a natural outcome. You're no longer trying to attract something outside of yourself. You are the embodiment of that reality. You're no longer waiting for permission to live your vision. You're living it now because you remembered something powerful. You are not just a human being trying to manifest a better life. You are a multidimensional consciousness, integrating ancient energies, aligning archetypal forces, and tuning yourself to the highest possible version of this experience. And when that alignment is true, your path unfolds, not always easily, not always predictably, but always faithfully, because now you are not navigating from fear. You are navigating from essence. You are not chasing reality. You are resonating with it, and that resonance becomes your reality. Part 4, Emotional Alchemy and Quantum Shift. Let's go deeper now. Let's talk about the engine that drives your intention, the invisible force behind your thoughts, your focus, and your frequency. Let's talk about emotion. Your emotional state is not just a response to life. It's a generator, a broadcaster. It sends out vibrations that shape your experience in real time. Think of it like music. Each emotion plays a different note. Joy hums in a high, clear frequency. Grief resonates deep in the body. Awe opens the heart. Rage, if held consciously, carries power. Fear, if unchecked, scrambles the signal. And the universe, this vast quantum field of possibility, is listening, not with ears, but through resonance. It doesn't hear what you say. It feels what you broadcast constantly. So here's where the disconnect happens for so many of us. You may hold a clear intention. I want to build a meaningful business. I want love. I want to thrive. But if the emotional undercurrent beneath that intention is anxiety, if it's fear of failure, if it's self-doubt masked as hustle, then the signal becomes distorted. The quantum field doesn't judge. It doesn't punish. It simply reflects like a mirror. Emotion plus intention equals magnetic resonance. This is the formula, not just mindset, not just mindset, not just visualization, but embodied emotional energy fused with conscious focus. So, how do we master this? How do we shift from emotional confusion to vibrational clarity? It begins with a simple but powerful question. What emotion is fueling my intention right now? Before you speak, pause. Feel. Ask yourself, is this coming from fear or from truth? Is this energy aligned with the version of me I'm becoming or the version I'm trying to escape? This is not about perfection. It's about honesty. Next, anchor your energy. Use breath to calm the body. Use music to tune your mood. Use movement, dance, walk, stretch to discharge stuck emotions. Use visualization to step into the feeling of your future self. This is not spiritual performance. This is nervous system alignment. This is emotional alchemy. You're not suppressing what you feel. You're working with it. You're transmuting fear into clarity. Doubt into devotion, anxiety into activated intention, And here's something often overlooked. Pay attention to symbols, to dreams, to synchronicities, to that random song that makes you cry, to that repeated number, to that unexpected message from someone you were just thinking about. These are not coincidences, they're reflections. They are your subconscious and the quantum field responding. They are mirrors of your inner state, whispering, yes, you're on the path, or gently nudging, something is misaligned. So many people miss these signs because they're only looking with their eyes, but life speaks through symbols. And when you listen with your energy, everything begins to speak. Now let's be clear, this isn't manipulation. This isn't about tricking the universe with good vibes. This is about coherence. Emotional coherence is not about always feeling good. It's about being congruent. It's about emotional integrity. It's about vibrational honesty. It means aligning your inner world so that what you think, what you feel, and what you truly believe are all in harmony. Because the more honest you are with yourself, the more aware you become of your emotional patterns, the more deliberate you are with your energetic state, the clearer your signal becomes. And the clearer the signal, the faster reality begins to shift. This is emotional alchemy in action. This is how you collapse timelines, not by forcing life to obey your will, but by shifting your frequency to match the future that already exists. Because yes, your dream life is already real. It's one of many possible timelines. And the path to it isn't paved with struggle, it's paved with alignment. So feel your feelings, listen to them, learn from them, but don't get stuck in them. Transmute, elevate, resonate. Let your emotions be the fuel, not the fog. Let them power your intention, not paralyze it. And as you do, you will find yourself stepping into realities that once felt impossible, not because you forced them into being, but because you became the frequency that naturally attracts them. That is the quantum shift. Part 5. Becoming the frequency of your future. Here's the real secret. One that doesn't require effort in the way you might think. One that doesn't demand that you reinvent yourself from scratch. You're not becoming someone new. You're not fabricating a different identity. You are remembering, returning, reclaiming a version of yourself that already exists, one that is wise, powerful, courageous, loving, and fully aligned. This version of you is not a fantasy, it's a vibrational reality, already alive in the quantum field, waiting not to be created, but to be activated through resonance. You don't force your way into that future, you allow it, you tune into it. Like a musician finding the right note, you align your frequency until the music becomes you. But with every shift forward, something old clings, something past resists. The victim archetype rises, wanting to be right. It says, I was hurt. I deserve compensation. The shadow wants to remain hidden. It whispers, don't look here. You might not like what you see. The orphan within you fears connection. It says, if I let them in, they'll leave. Again, this resistance isn't bad. It's not a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're growing. It means you're crossing thresholds, shedding skins, letting go. So what if, instead of battling those parts of you, you met them with presence? What if you spoke to your fear, not to silence it, but to understand it? What if you gave shame a seat at the table, not to validate it, but to witness it? What if you held your anger in your hands, not to be consumed by it, but to ask it, what truth are you guarding? This is how healing begins. This is how fragmentation becomes wholeness. Not by dominating the shadow, but by integrating it. When you stop running from your past selves and instead turn toward them with compassion, a miracle begins. The pieces return, the fragments unify, the distortion begins to dissolve, the incoherence becomes clarity. And in that space, the space where you no longer perform healing, but actually embody it, a new identity begins to emerge. Not a costume, not a mask, but your true self. This is the hero's journey, not just a mythical tale, but a very real transformation through the inner world. You leave your old world. You face your inner dragons, you confront illusions, you meet allies, within and without, and then you return, but not with a trophy, not with accolades. You return with transformation. You are not the same, and the field knows it, because the quantum field, this infinite ocean of possibility, doesn't respond to your desire. It doesn't respond to your words. It doesn't even respond to your vision boards, your rituals, your routines. It responds to who you are. So the question becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. Who am I being right now? What version of me am I embodying in this moment? Because the quantum field is always listening, not to your affirmations, but to your alignment and your archetypes, those powerful inner patterns. They are not broken. They are not waiting to be fixed. They are waiting to be activated. The hero is ready to act. The lover is ready to open. The sage is ready to see. The magician is ready to transform. Even the shadow once feared is ready to serve. When these forces within you begin to harmonize, your signal becomes pure. Your intention becomes magnetic. And the future you've glimpsed is no longer a distant dream. It becomes your present reality. This is not magic. This is coherence. This is alignment. This is the art of becoming the frequency of your future. Because in the end, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So breathe, feel, choose, and become. Conclusion: the power was always within you. You are not here to chase a future. You are here to remember who you already are. When your thoughts align with your emotions, when your unconscious patterns meet your conscious intention, when your archetypes rise in harmony, you don't force change. You become change. This is not magic. It's resonance. It's coherence. It's truth. So stop searching outside for the next answer. The quantum field is not waiting for your effort. It's waiting for your frequency. Return to yourself. Anchor in presence. Live as if your future is already here, because in the quantum world it is. And now the only question that remains is, are you ready to embody it? Because your reality is listening, and it always responds to who you are.